Hello, and welcome to the Stitching Over the Days podcast. This is episode 16. I'm sure you've noticed that there's been a slight change to the name. This podcast was formerly known as Yarning Over the Days podcast. However, I wanted to change the name to reflect all of the crafts that are a big part of my life, which include not only knitting and crochet, hence the Yarning Over the Days name, but also sewing, which is a huge part of my crafty adventures. And since all of these crafts involve stitching, then I felt that Stitching Over the Days could reflect all of my passions in the craft world. So my name is Constance. I'm not sure if I said that before. And I want to thank any new reviewers and also any returning viewers for taking the time out to hear what I have to say all about my sewing, knitting, and crochet adventures. As of now, you can still find the show notes at yarningoverthedays.wordpress.com. I do plan on creating a new blog soon to reflect the new name. And without further ado, I'm not sure if I told you, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Cleo, cleocmc, and I also just stated that the show notes could be found at yarningoverthedays.wordpress.com. So without further ado, let's get started because I have quite a few things. A lot of things to share with you today, and I do want to talk about each project. So we'll begin. In the previous episode, I was telling you all that I was planning on attending a banquet in August. Yes, back in August last month. It seems so long ago, but it's not that long. And so I decided kind of at the last minute that I wanted to create an outfit for the formal event. And so I had the fabric already in my stash, but I went back and forth thinking that I wouldn't create the garment. And my mother even had this silver dress for me. That was, it was pretty nice. I mean, it was all right. But I felt that I could wear something better or something even nicer. So I decided at the last minute to create a garment. Now, before I start talking about my but my sewing projects, I want to say that some things were hits and some things were misses. And so I'll tell you the details about the things that I love and the things that I'm not so crazy about. And this set, I'll just talk about both sets. It includes something I love and something that I don't want to say hate, but something that I don't like. So we'll begin first with the positive. I created this Simplicity 8252, and I created that sheer red and goat. That's what they call it. I never heard of that name before, so I had to Google it. So it's pretty much a coat. So I created that sheer overlay there for the garment. And I simply went to Joann's and I just saw this sheer fabric in like the special occasion aisle. And I didn't know what the fabric was, so I had to go back to figure it out so I could talk about it in this episode. And the fabric is, it was 100% nylon, I believe. And I'll share it with you. So this is the sheer red and goat over the dress that I wore, and I like it a lot, quite a lot. The fabric, I did make, not changes, well, I guess you can say changes. The fabric, the pattern used ties in the front to close the red and goat. However, I decided to go for snaps because I kind of wanted a more streamlined effect. And it also had a ribbon tie at the waist. But I ordered a bridle belt from Amazon, a crystallized one, and I wore that as a belt. And also, it was very long, which was nice, but I wanted it to be still within the length of the dress, just a little bit past the length of the dress that would be under it. So I took off about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 inches. I didn't take the hem up before the I stitched the garment together as I usually do. I simply just laid it out and cut it after I created the garment. And so I'm really happy. And that's the reason I'm really happy about this sheer red and goat is that it forced me to break out my serger. I told you all some episodes back that I finally purchased a serger, but I was kind of afraid to use it, and I just had to get over that fear because I couldn't have a sheer garment with unfinished or pinked seams. I didn't think that would look good, and so I wanted to use my serger. So I simply went on YouTube and looked at quite a few videos. There's quite a few videos out there. I have the Brother 1034D. I think that's what it's called. And so there are a lot of videos out there with support. And so here's the inside of the garment. I'm not sure. And it was quite fun, and it wasn't scary at all to create the looking at it now, I see where I missed, but this was my first time using the serger. But it wasn't hard at all to finish the seams, and I was having quite a good time. And another thing I did was, I'm not sure, I just did a regular hem. I think I did a 1-inch hem. And I was doing it the night before we were to catch our flight, so it's definitely not my best hemming job. First, I wanted to hand stitch it, but I just didn't have time because I hand stitched the hem to the dress that was under it the night before also our flight. And so I just didn't have time, so I just machine stitched it. And I still think it looks quite beautiful. So I'm really happy with this sheer red and gold, and I like that I could wear it over other dresses and garments in the future, because I don't think I will be wearing it with the dress that I made to go with it. And that leads me into the next project. But before I talk about, well, no, I'll share a picture after I talk about this. So the next garment was made, the dress under was made using Simplicity 2444, and I made the version with the sleeves. And I used this, it's called Jacquard, Jacquard. I also had to go back to Joann's to figure out what it was called. And I think the fabric is quite beautiful. And I really like it so much, the fabric. However, I started up the dress first, and so I didn't break out my serger. And so even though I pinked my seams, but it's still quite messy and very ugly on the inside. And even though I pinked the seams, as you can see, there's a lot of fraying. And so that's where I made my first mistake. And then another thing is that this, I don't know if you can hear it, but this fabric is very scratchy. And so I should have underlined it or lined it, and I didn't do that either. I wore a slip under it when I wore it to the event, but I still felt that the slip, of course, didn't extend to the sleeve area, so that was scratchy and uncomfortable. And I think I should have changed the needle. I need to research more. I mean, this is my first time working with a type of fancy fabric, but the stitching kind of, I don't know how to describe this, but it's not very neat looking, and it kind of splits the fabric, kind of shreds it a bit. So maybe I don't know if I should use a new needle. I'm just not sure what I need to do. I need to definitely research more on how to work with Jacquard fabric, because I want to again, and I want to create another dress to go under that sheer red and gold, because at the end of the day, this was very nice. I really liked my outfit, and I received so many compliments at the banquet, and I just didn't feel good comfortably. I wasn't comfortable in it, like not comfortable in terms of the style. I like the style, but in terms of the feel of it against my skin and the practicality. And so I don't want to wear this dress ever again. But I have a dilemma in that I don't know what to do with it. Like, I could donate it to the thrift store, but there's this guilt within me in that I'm kind of donating a garment that's not the best quality at all. I don't know, maybe the person who buys it might be able to modify it, or I don't know, attach a lining. It's just not the best, it's just not the best quality of a garment. And so I want to donate it to the thrift store because I just don't want to toss it. But I also feel this type of guilt because it's just, yeah. So that was definitely not a hit in terms of, and I feel that happened because I rushed the process. I decided at the last minute to create the set, and so if I had a planned in advance, I would have been able to line it and maybe make it a higher quality, and also do further research on how to work with that type of fabric. But overall, I really like this set and I really enjoyed wearing it. But I do have plans to make another dress to go under that sheer red and gold. And then also, I just want to make another basic black dress. And I feel that will look nice also under the sheer red and gold. So I like the set, but one was a hit and one was a miss. And so it happens. And I will insert a picture of myself wearing the dress set here. Okay, so we can now move into the next project, which was New Look 6263. And I'm sad to say that this one was not a hit either. It was a miss. So I'll talk about it. I don't know. I saw this pattern at Joann's, and first I'll talk about the fabric. I purchased some Rifle Paper Company rayon fabric from their new English Garden line, which was absolutely gorgeous. And the thing is that when the fabric came, I became so excited. I immediately wanted to sew it up because it was absolutely beautiful. And it was their Juliet Rose print, which I love. I've made my niece a short set of that using that fabric or that print. And actually, I'll insert that picture here. So I made one for my niece, and I wanted to use the fabric for myself. And excuse me, I just felt that, oh, since it was this flowy material and I wanted the roses, I just had this idea in my mind to be highlighted. I felt that I didn't do a fit and flare like I usually like. And I wanted to try this new shape of a garment, which is kind of a trapeze shape. And it's rather cute. And so I created the garment, and it turned out really cute. I mean, I think it's really cute. I did think the collar was kind of finicky to work up. It was kind of odd. And when I said that on Instagram, quite a few people chimed in and said that they were actually, I've had a few difficulties with the collar. And one girl told me that it kind of sat on her project, kind of like works in progress for over a year because of the collar. And so I didn't really enjoy working up the collar. But I think it's cute, like how the buttons connect. And I really like the buttons I found at Joann's. And I like the bias tape that's used on the seams. But the problem with this dress is that it's just simply not my style. I didn't feel great in it. And I only wore it to take pictures for my Instagram page. I do like to document everything that I made. But when it came to actually getting ready to wear it to school and to work, I just felt no inclination or no motivation to wear it. And I just had to accept that this wasn't my style. And I was just so disappointed because the fabric is so beautiful. This is my favorite. I love Rifle Paper Company, as you all know. And this is my favorite print that they've made. And I was just so disappointed that it didn't work out. And so I'm going to give this dress to my niece. I think it'll definitely be cute on her, and it's her style. And I even took the time to slip stitch my collar in place. And you all know that I used to not enjoy slip stitching, but I'll talk about that later. But now I don't hate it so much. And I used to not enjoy hand stitching really at all. And so I took the time to, put together the garment, but I'm not keeping it. And so I just don't want to wear it. And I love the fabric. I love the fluidity of it. I just don't like the garment. So that was another miss. But I I still want to get this fabric. So I went trying to find the fabric. Again, it was all gone on Rifle Paper Company, so I was very disappointed. Then I went to fabric.com and they were sold out. So I asked to be notified when it came back in stock, and they restocked it on, it was restocked on Saturday. And so I ordered 4 more yards of this fabric, and I plan to make definitely a fit and flare dress. And I'm thinking that I want to make a shirt dress, because I wish I knew her Instagram name, but I saw a version pop up in my feed of a Instagrammer who made it in a shirt dress using this fabric, but she had the white background. I have the Juliet Rose with the navy background, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was so stunning, and I don't know why I didn't think that a rayon. Again, this is a kind of fabric that's new to me. I'm still pretty much a newbie with sewing, even though I've sewn quite a lot, but I really haven't tried out different types of fabrics. And so I just felt that a rayon required like a flowy type style dress. But when I saw her dress, it was a shirt dress, kind of a fitted bodice with the flared out skirt. No, it was a circle skirt. It was beautiful. I saw that the rayon could work with that type of silhouette. And so I ordered some more fabric, and I'm still indecisive about which shirt dress I want to make with it. I don't want to do M6696, but I have been contemplating doing the new Mccall 7384. I ordered that pattern because it was completely sold out at my Joann's. But I ordered that pattern from Mccall's, and it's coming in the mail. But what I think I'll do is I'm going to first test it out on another rayon just to make sure, because I don't want to have to order this fabric again. I want the dress to be perfect. And so I'll do like I did before with Mccall 6696. I tested it out on like a cheaper fabric, and then I'll make the pattern up in the nicer fabric. But that's all I have to say on that. And I will insert a picture of myself wearing the dress here. Okay, now we can move into some happy things. Everything else I'm really, really, really happy about. I've been meaning to make some pants for a while. I never made pants. And so I always had this pattern in the back of my mind, knowing that I wanted this pattern to be the first pair of pants that I made. And this is Butterick 5895, and it's one of Gertie's patterns. And it stated that it's easy on the back, and I like that it had pockets, and I just like the whole high-rise vintage look of it. So earlier this summer, I did purchase some cotton twill from Joann's, and I finally had an opportunity to use it. And I made the pants. I made a blue pair, and I'll just flip it over, they're on the same thing, and a black pair. And I absolutely love the fit of them. It was just, oh my goodness, I just liked it so much. And so I did use my serger for the pants, and that's why I'm happy I waited, because as you can see, the model kind of cuffs the pants, and I knew that if I wanted to cuff the pants one day, I didn't want to have unfinished seams or pink seams. And so I did, for the blue pair, I used a white thread for my serger, and for the black pair, I used black thread. And I just thought that having a serger would be like such a headache. I thought I would hate rethreading it, but I find myself wanting to rethread my machine all the time, because I like to try to see what threads will look best with the inside of the garments. Like you saw with the sheer red and gold, I used that hot pink to match that garment. And so I chose to use the white for the blue, and then when it comes to black, I like for it to have black threads. So I really don't mind, and it's really not hard to thread at all. So far I'm having a really great experience with that serger. I don't have anything much to say about this pattern besides it is easy. I really enjoy working it up. It works up really quickly, and I love the fit of the what is it? Yeah, I love the fit of the of the pants a lot. I don't know, my mind just went blank. Oh, and what size did I make? I don't know what I did with the pattern. I think I made a size 8. Oh, here it is. Yes, I made the size 6 or 8. I don't know. I always forget, either a size 6 or 8. I usually go back and forth between those sizes. I'm just pulling out a pattern piece to see what I made. Yes, I made the size 8. And I think the fit is really nice. I knew I did not want the pants to be like really tight, you know, or uncomfortable, but I also knew that I didn't want them to be too loose. And so I still wanted to show my shape. And I think that this size 8 was the perfect size. And when it comes to, I didn't tell you the sizes I made for the previous garments. For the New Look 6263, I know I made the size 8 also for that. And for the sheer Red and Go, I made the size 6 if I'm not mistaken. And for Simplicity 2444, I made the size 4, but I did let out the side seams just a bit. So that's it for Butterick 5895, and I will insert pictures of myself wearing the pants here. Okay, so now we can get into Simplicity 8591. I'm wearing one of the versions. I made 3 versions of this dress. I can't believe I made so many. I really like this pattern. As you know, I made this pattern before using a rifle paper company, kind of like a jungle print fabric with the green background, and it featured leopards and tigers and I think parrots, yes, and little leaves and foliage, and I love that dress. And I just enjoy wearing it. I feel so good wearing it, and every time I wear it, I always get like numerous compliments from people on that dress, and I just felt that I would love to have some more versions of that dress. And so that's Simplicity 8591. The first time I made the pattern, I made version C, and that's I found out the name of this type of collar because I had no idea what it was called, but it's called a Puritan collar, which I think is kind of a cute name. And so the first time I made this, I made it the version C, which has the Puritan collar and it's sleeveless. And that's simply because I didn't have enough fabric. So the second time around, I wanted to make a basic black dress. And it was hard for me to go with the completely black dress. This has a slight print on it. I don't know if you could see it, but little circles. And so I made that version C, but this time I added sleeves. And I like it quite a bit. This was just some quilting cotton that I bought at Joann's over the summer, and it's pretty just a basic cotton. Of course, it has that kind of thickness that quilting cotton has, but I like that because it gives the skirt a really nice structure. But I do still want to make another basic black dress, and I have some cotton sateen that I plan to make another black dress, and that dress will be completely black. It's just a solid print. But I love this so much, and I enjoyed wearing it so much, which surprised me because it was just such a dark color, and really I don't wear dark colors hardly at all. And so I really enjoyed wearing this. I made no modifications to this pattern. I did take 4 inches from the hem just like I did with my first version, and I did that with all 3 versions. So this is the black version with the sleeves, and also I added the little buttons in the center. I don't know, I just added it just because I thought it was cute. And I like how the collar kind of opens. It's just like it's asking for some buttons to be placed there. And I then made this pink version, which is the exact same thing, version C. I added sleeves and I added buttons, and I'll go ahead and stand up so you can kind of see. Oh, and another modification is I don't do the lap zipper. I just do a regular zipper for this pattern. I went with a pink zipper for this. And another thing is I've started taking my time when it comes to inserting zippers. You remember in the past I always have those kind of the waist would become misaligned like that, and I found that it's just I should just follow the instructions. When they tell me to baste the zipper in place before machine stitching it, I would kind of skip that step. But now I do hand baste the zipper in place, and then I machine stitch it. And I have not had any problems with my zipper being misaligned. I don't know, this is a dark color, but the waist is perfectly aligned. Let me see if this one, here's my third version I made, and I'm trying to show you that waist. I took my time with the zipper, and the waist is perfect. I just love it. And this is the third version. I didn't have enough fabric for sleeves, and so at first I intended to just make a sleeveless and collarless dress because I just thought the fabric was gorgeous. And both of these fabrics are Ravelry Paper Company, and they're both from the same line. One is just pink, one is blue black. And so I didn't have enough fabric, and so when I cut out all of the pieces, I actually had enough left, just enough to add the collar. And because I love the collar so much on this pattern, I was so excited, and so I added the collar to that version. So with all versions, I took 4 inches off the hem, and I did a regular zipper. And I will insert pictures of me wearing the dress here. The dress is here. Okay. I still think we're doing good on time. I hope I'm not going through this. I wrote out my notes so I could remember all of the details. And so the next project that I want to talk with you about that I created is the Mccall 6891 shirt dress. I really, really, really like. And this pattern is nice because it has that whole fashion that fits option. I think it gives you like options when it comes to the bust that you're gonna make. Let me look at the details. I can't remember exactly. Like, it allows for you to make adjustments, which is pretty cool. Like, you can make adjustments if you have a sway or flat back, or broad or narrow shoulders. I was trying to see if there's an adjustment that can be made for a smaller bust, because I think I should do that next time. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like a try on tissue method, which I want to play with this pattern some more to get the perfect fit. I do like the dress, but I do feel it's roomy in the bust area. Well, they have instructions for a full bust adjustment. So maybe I need to research more on small bust adjustment. Yes, as I was saying, I need to research more on how to do a small bust adjustment, because I'm sure that's a thing. And I do think that the dress is quite roomy in the bust area for me, but I really like this dress. This is the dress here. I don't even have it buttoned. Sorry. I don't like to button my shirt dresses on the hangers, because when I'm ready to put them on and wear them, I don't want to have to unbutton every button, and so I usually have them on the hanger like this. But I really enjoyed this style of collar. I do think it could have been a bit neater on this corner. It's not as sharp as it should be, and I went back and forth on if I should press the collar, but now I think I'm going to press the collar to get more of a pressed look. But I think that side is a bit sharper. And the pattern was, it worked up really quickly. Oh, I do want to show you these buttons I purchased from Joann's this summer. And I just purchased it simply because it was pretty, but it turned out to be a perfect match for this garment. And the fabric is Ravelry Paper Company. It's from their New English Garden collection. And for this pattern, I made the size 8. And I don't know what else to say about it. I just followed the pattern exactly as it was printed, and I like it so much. I also like that I had the matching pads to go with it, but I think it looks really great with my navy pumps that I own, and it can look like really quite elegant, and then I can make it look casual also. So I really enjoyed that about the pattern. This pattern did require a lot of slip stitching, like all of this, all from around the collar all the way down. It's hard to show. I had to slip stitch that all the way around, and so this is when I started to not hate hand stitching as much as I used to, because I used to think that it interrupted like the flow of my project. But then what I did was I just put in Midsummer Murders on Netflix, and I just felt that it was perfect for watching TV. And that's when I started to actually kind of like hand stitching quite a bit. And so I just looked at some mysteries and I just got to work, and I really think I did a really neat job. I could barely see my stitching, and I'm really happy about that. So I enjoyed that part quite a bit, and I really like this dress. I've worn it twice already. Yeah, so I know that it's gonna get regular rotation in my wardrobe. Okay. Um, I made another Simplicity 2444. This is my 10th version. No, I did think I made only 10 versions, but now that I think about it, this is my 11th version because I wasn't counting the one in the jacquard fabric. And so this is my 11th version of this dress. As you all know, this is my tried and true pattern, my go-to pattern, and I love it. I didn't like the fabric I chose for that version I shared earlier, and that's why I don't like it. But the pattern itself, I love. And I had more Rifle Paper Company. I think I shared this on the last episode, and all I needed to do was the armhole facing and the hem. Well, I finished it, and I've been wearing this dress so much. Like, I just love it. It has flowers, it has foliage, it has little parrots on it. It's just perfect. And the colors are just beautiful. And it's in a fabric that not fabric, but a pattern that I really enjoy making. As I stated, when I made the Simplicity 2444, I made the size 4, and I let out the side seams just a bit. And other than that, that's it. I did the pleats in the front, and I followed the pattern exactly, and I love that dress. I wear that dress a lot. I want to make a cardigan to match it. I have this Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in tweed forest heather, and I put the yarn against that dress, and oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. It's just, yeah, I love it so much. And I will insert a picture of myself wearing that dress here. And the next, yes, I made another dress in more Rifle Paper Company fabric. And that's another Mccall 6696. I made the size 8. I made no modifications. And this is that. And as you can see the buttons, I went with these kind of blue buttons. Also, I do like to add a snap at the waist, because otherwise, as I stated before with this pattern, when I made 2 versions previously that I talked about in the previous episode, I don't like that there's not a button at the waist. No, I'm happy there's not a button at the waist, because when I wear belts with the dress, I'm happy that a button is not interrupting. It's not like pressing against the belt, but I still wanted that area to be closed, so I add snaps to the waist. And I just like this pattern so much. I love the gathers on the back, and I like the pleats a lot, which are kind of hidden in this floral fabric, which I don't mind. I mean, if you see me in person, you'll notice the details, but it's kind of hidden when I take photos. And at the last minute, I decided I wanted to go for a rounded collar, which I think is so charming. And so I just simply took a round can, a shaving cream can, and I just traced the corner because it was a pointed collar, of course, at first. And I just traced the corner into a rounded corner. And I love it so much. And I mainly wanted to make this dress because I want to layer my pullover sweaters in the winter over it. And I think this, well, I know it's going to look quite nice with my Chuck pullover sweater. I have it in a hot pink color. And I already tried it on, and I like how the collar peeps out from that sweater. And I also like the blue background because I like wearing it with navy blue tights. But it also works in hot weather also, and I wore it last week. We were in the 90s. Oh my goodness, it's still hot in South Carolina last week, and this was a really nice dress to wear that day. So that is it for the dresses and for the pants. So now I can talk about the garments that I'm most excited about because they felt like such major accomplishments. And that is, first off, this has been like in my queue forever, which is Simplicity 1197. I shared this with you all last year, saying I wanted to make this dress about a year ago. Not dress, this coat. And I even showed the fabric and the lining and the buttons in the previous episode. I'm not sure what number, but I just didn't get to it. Well, I finally made the coat, and I'm so happy. I couldn't be more pleased with it. I wanted to stick to the pattern exactly. I could have omitted the welt pockets because that was like a big challenge. But I just felt that it wouldn't, I mean, it would still be a coat, but I wanted a coat that would have pockets. And so I did the welt pockets. I had some time with it. At first I created them, and then I had to like take them out and do them again because I did them wrong. But I think I did it quite well in the end, and I'll show you. Oh my goodness, I had it on the floor. Okay, has a little bits of thread on it. Okay, and here there are my welt pockets. So fun. And it even has the lining is there. The inside of the garment has this plaid lining, and it features 4 large buttons, and there are the buttons, so pretty and shiny. And I like this coat so much. It has a beautiful collar, which I like that it can lie flat, but then I like how it looks when it's closed up. Like, that's it. It's really pretty. And this fabric is a cotton twill from Joann's, and it's kind of in this emerald green color, which you know I love green. Green is like my favorite color to wear, and I wanted to choose a color a color that I would enjoy wearing quite a bit. So I'm just unbuttoning this coat. I really like it so much, and I like that it's pretty much the length of most of my dresses. And so now because in the past I would have coats, I like the look of a coat being about the same length of a dress. And my coats in the past that were store-bought, it's kind of hard to find long coats that weren't too long for my 5'2" frame, or that would look good over my dresses. And so I never really had success with that, like the vintage coats. And I've been looking at a lot of Endeavor on Amazon Prime, and it's a mystery show set in the 60s. And a lot of the coats on that show that the ladies wear, they look just like this. And so I'm so happy with this coat. I do think I could have done a better job here. My points aren't that neat. As you can see, it's kind of like this ripple here on both, but at least it's on both ends, so it's uniform in that. But I don't think that's a major problem. And I wonder if I should have used a heavier what is it I'm thinking about? Is it interfacing? Yes, interfacing. But I still think it's really lovely. And it has the feel, the like relaxed feel. It's lightweight and perfect for fall. And I know I'll be wearing this one quite a bit in South Carolina, because in South Carolina and Alabama we have cold days, but the entire winter it's not cold. It's usually, I just can't stop. Every time I put this coat on I get happy. But our winters we will get cold days, but they're not like a sustained cold. And so for the most part you usually just need kind of like a not lightweight jacket, but kind of a mid-weight type jacket or coat, and this is perfect. I know my Lupin jacket will get a lot of wear as it cools down a bit, and so will this coat. And I just like how it feels like my favorite coat, even though I haven't worn it yet. And every time I put it on, I just feel so good in it, and I don't ever want to take it off. As you can see, I'm so happy with it. The lining is just so fun. I felt that since I had a solid fabric on the outside, I could just go wow with my lining on the inside. And I don't know what more to say about it. I made the size 6 of this pattern. And let me look at my notes because I'm getting so excited I probably will miss something. Oh, there was a hand stitching involved quite a bit with the hems. For the coat, and also I learned something new, catch stitching. First off, Professor Pincushion here on YouTube is just the bomb.com, because I referred to quite a few of her videos when making both of my coats. Yes, there's a second coat that I'm about to share with you. And she had a great video on catch stitching, and the pattern involved catch stitching, what you call it? Like I had to catch stitch this, and then I did slip stitching for the lining to the sleeve. Is that, yeah. And then the sleeve is kind of unique, like the lining like is supposed to drop over. It's hard to explain, but the lining kind of like drops over, but the stitching is right there. It's so pretty, precious. I don't know, precious sound like what's his name off Lord of the Rings, but I like the coat quite a bit, and it's definitely a favorite. It's something that I've been searching for in stores for years that I never could find. I've always liked the classic look of vintage trench coats that I would see in thrift stores, but they were always too big for me. And so now I finally own this it kind of reminds me of a trench coat style coat, but it's in my favorite color, and it's not just a khaki trench coat, it's a green type of coat. So I love it so much. I'm going to take it off because there's anything else to say about it, and I will insert pictures of myself wearing the coat here. So still on this high from making that coat, and then I went to fabric.com browsing. My advice is to not browse on a fabric site because you end up buying. And so I was browsing, and then I was thinking, oh, it would be really nice. No, first I was browsing on Etsy. Let's start there first, because I was telling you about the rabbit hole that is vintage patterns on Etsy, and I love purchasing vintage patterns on Etsy. And so I saw this. Okay, it's in the bag. Hold on. It's not in the best condition, and the envelope is fragile. That. Found this vintage 1960s pattern, and I love that coat there. And I like the coat because it didn't have a collar, it didn't have buttons, it just looked like an easy throw-on coat, and those big patch pockets were gorgeous. I mean, I could put everything in there. I wouldn't even have to carry a purse with those pockets. And so I knew I wanted to make a heavier weight coat, because even though we don't have like a lot of cold days here in the South, when we do get those cold days, I felt it would be nice to have a heavier coat. And so I just also didn't know how my machine would handle a wool. And so I thought this pattern was perfect because my machine wouldn't have to make buttonholes. I don't know. I never tried to make buttonholes with a heavier fabric. No, I did try to make buttonholes with a heavyweight denim. I think in the past with the quick sew pinafore I made, and I remember it kept jamming and it wasn't going through, so I didn't trust my machine to handle buttonholes on a wool. But that's why I thought this pattern would be perfect. So the pattern came, and then I was just on fabric.com, and I noticed they had some Raleigh Blake Melton wool and all of these beautiful colors. And I just thought they were all gorgeous, and I wanted every color. But come on, how many coats does a girl need? And so I started thinking about colors that I love to wear and that always worked for me. And my most worn ready-to-wear coat came from the thrift store. I purchased it about 4 years ago, and it's pumpkin orange color. And I just love the colors so much. And so I figured I would go with the burnt orange of the Raleigh Blake Melton fabric. And because I just felt it would fit seamlessly into my wardrobe, and I knew it was a color that I loved wearing. And let me get the coat off the mannequin. I'll be right back. So this coat has been sitting on the mannequin, and I like this pattern quite a bit. One of my Instagram followers was able to find it on Amazon. So I'm not sure if Amazon has any more copies, but maybe Etsy if you want a nice, it was definitely an easy make, and there weren't many pieces at all, and I think it's just perfect. And I think the look is quite elegant for how easy it is, and really it's just elegant, period. And I decided to again go for a really fun lining, and they had this charmeuse cheetah print lining. How fun is that? On fabric.com, and I thought it looked perfect against that burnt orange color. And so yeah, I like that this pattern has tall, medium, and short sizes and lengths. And so yes, I of course made the short version. I'm trying to think if I took off any length. Yes, I think I took off maybe 2 inches or an inch. I forgot from the coat, because even though it was for the short version, it was still quite long. And I like this coat quite a bit too. Look at those big pockets. Oh, they're so deep and big, and the lining is in the pockets also, which is really fun. And yeah, I like it so much. It's so cozy. You just want to do like this. It's just, and because on Endeavor, I promise you, on one episode, the lady was wearing a coat exactly like this, and she was leaving the hospital, and it was like this vintage sleeve length here, and she was putting on a pair of gloves in the episode, and I just had to find me a pair of long gloves on Amazon because I thought that that look was everything. And so these are my wool gloves that I purchased to go along with the coat, and I like that they're touch screen friendly, so I can still use it with my phone. So I'm just going to keep those here in my pocket. And because of course the sleeves don't go all the way up, and if I'm wearing it on a cold day, I need the long wool gloves to stay warm. But I love this coat so much. I don't know which coat I like more. I just love both of them so much. But that is it. I will insert I will insert a picture of myself wearing the orange coat here. Okay. That's it for coat making. I decided that I would maybe make myself a coat. I'll see how this wear over the winter and over the fall, and then I'll identify what aspects I like in a coat, and then the next year I hope to make another coat. I don't think I'll be making a coat every year because that would still be too many coats. And the good thing about coats are they are nice quality and high quality. Then they'll last for a long time. There was a lot of hand stitching involved with both coats. With this one, I had to do the lining all the way around, but I took my time because I knew that with a coat, as I was saying, there was you're gonna have it for years, and so I didn't want to just have do anything. And another thing was I looked at videos on how to work with wool, and I didn't think the iron setting was good enough on my iron for the wool setting. It wasn't really pressing it as much as I would have liked, and so I'm not advising anyone else to do this because I don't want you to ruin your fabric. But what I did was I set my iron to the highest heat, and I put in water for steaming level, and I used a pressing cloth over the wool, and that's how I was able to press quite successfully the coat. I just did that whenever I had to press seams open, and also press the edges, and I think it gave me a really neat finish. Another thing what I did was I was looking at a video on YouTube. I don't know whose video I was looking at, but she suggested top stitching those seams in place. This wasn't in the pattern, but I chose to do this, so I top stitch any seams. Of course, you can't see the seams, but I did that, and then I did it along here, and then along the back also. I think the effect is quite neat and quite pretty, and then it also just helped my seams to line nice and flat, and I just think that really helped. So that's how I work with wool, and I think when I make my next wool coat, I'll do the same thing. I think I want to use this type of fabric again, Raleigh Blake Melton. I purchased it from fabric.com, and maybe a year or two from now, I want to maybe make a royal blue, cobalt blue coat, or a turquoise coat, or maybe a red. I don't know. I have some time to think about it. And that is it for the coats. I will say that I enjoy coat making quite a bit, and my sister requested a coat, and I was so happy. So I ordered some vegan wool from Fabric Godmother. Thank you to all of those who suggested Fabric Godmother for vegan wool, because I was having a hard time finding vegan wool. And so I purchased this kind of red-orange color for my sister, and I purchased some lining from Joanne. So you will see another coat in a future episode. I don't know what style she wants, or if she wants this style, but it won't be my coat. It'll be for my sister. All right, I'm going to take a break, and then we'll talk about my works in progress. Okay, we will talk about my works in progress, and I may have a bit of general chatter, not a lot, and then that'll be it for this episode. So sewing wise, my favorite season is here. Yesterday was the first day of fall, and I am so happy to break out my corduroy dresses, and also soon I'll be wearing my new coats and jackets. And so I have another corduroy dress. That's my favorite type of fabric to work with. And I'm going to make this gray dress. I have all of the pieces cut out, and I saw this fabric at Hobby Lobby. I'm trying to find a good piece. Last year it was on sale for only $4.99 per yard, and I immediately loved it. And corduroy is my favorite fabric, but I prefer lightweight corduroy. Heavyweight corduroy, I made a dress in a heavier weight corduroy, and I don't like that dress that much. I mean, I like to wear it on really cold days, but I don't like the weight of it. And just like my denim pinafore I made in a heavyweight denim, I don't like the weight of that either, which is why I hardly wear it. So I just don't like heavyweight fabrics, unless maybe if it's a coat. And so I just love lightweight corduroy. And I cut out all of the pieces for another Mccall 6696. I was hoping, yes. And another Mccall 6696. I plan on making the same version that I always make, version B, with the sleeves. And I don't know if you noticed, but that corduroy is gray, but it has some sparkle. There's little sparklies in the fabric, which I love. And so I'm really excited about that. And I'm also happy to finally make Mccall 6696 in a kind of solid color, because now that will show off those beautiful gathers in the back and those pleats in the front skirt and the back skirt, some of those details that are hidden, because as you all know, my previous 3 versions have all been made with a floral print, and I love flowers. I love floral prints, but sometimes they can hide the details of a garment. So I'm excited about that. I'm not sure if I want to round the collar, which I'm leaning more so towards rounding the collar for this version, but or if I'll have a pointed collar. And I'm not sure. I'm not going to sew on this. I don't have plans to sew this up tonight or even tomorrow, because I've been knitting quite a bit. I really want to finish my cardigan in the next week or two. And that leads me into my next work in progress. I mentioned in the previous episode that I was making another Salal cardigan because I need another staple black cardigan for my wardrobe. My black cardigan that I have currently is Hortensia pattern by Andy Satcherlin, and I like it, but it is a deep V-neck cardigan, and I tend to get cold in the chest area a lot, and so I wanted a crew neck cardigan, and so I decided to go with the pattern that I knew I loved, and I enjoy wearing my navy blue Salal cardigan so much. I wear it all the time. I take it usually with me almost every single day in my book bag. And I'm going to make it long sleeves, just like I did with the blue version. I'm not sure if you can see that. And I'm using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in tweed. I've been knitting on this some this week while watching Columbo. I now own the full set on DVD. And I've been using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. I forgot the name. Okay, it's I forgot the name of this black, but I like that it's not a complete black, solid black, but it has those flecks of tweed in there. And I finished the lace portion. My tongue is getting thick in my mouth. Of this, and so the fun thing about, or the most relaxing thing about this pattern is that really the lace is really easy to work up, and then once you finish that, it's just pretty much a mindless knit, and I love that. So I just love enjoying watching TV while working this up, and that's what I plan on doing tonight also. And I'm hoping to finish this really soon. Hopefully it will be finished by the time I record the next episode. And I want to also finish it because I have a make 9 list, and this wasn't on my make 9 list, but I have a pullover sweater on my make 9 list. And even though it's not cold yet, I would like to have another long sleeve pullover sweater in my wardrobe. And so I want to make Andy Satcherlin's tessellate cardigan in a pink color. So those are my works in progress, and I don't have much general chatter. I think I plan to talk about coat making for my sister. I will say that, as I stated earlier, I was looking for a vegan wool because she is vegan. And so successfully I found a vegan wool on fabricgodmother.com, and I'm looking forward to that coming really soon. She wanted a navy lining, and so, but she didn't want it to be solid. And at Joann's I found this navy lining that had a pattern on it that she quite liked. I was wanting at least 3 yards. I don't know, I just felt more comfortable with 3 yards, but I got the end of the boat and it wasn't quite 3 yards, but I think it could be enough. I think it'll be enough. And that is it. I do have plans I want to make a blouse. I did have some of that Juliet Rose fabric left over from my felt floral dress with the New Look 6263 pattern, but I had about a little over 1 yard left, and so I want to make a blouse with that. And I have a nice pattern for that with the Peter Pan and collar, and hopefully I will have much more success with my Juliet Rose fabric when it comes in the mail. And I'm just going to take my time and relax and think for maybe some days before I cut into that fabric, because I don't want to mess up that fabric. And it's not messed up, but I don't want to waste the fabric again and have to have a dress that I don't love. that is it for this episode. I hope that it wasn't too rushed or too much, because I didn't anticipate doing so much in those past weeks. But I'm really, really happy for with the majority of my projects, and I've been getting a lot of wear out of them, and I'm looking forward to getting much more wear out of them. Thank you for taking the time out to hear what I had to say today, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.